Hello, how's it going? So today we're going to do a little video just to alleviate lower back pain. So this is more about general kind of pain and discomfort you might experience in your lower back due to sitting for too long or just waking up with a little bit of niggle. So it should help to relieve any of that. We're going to start off just lying down onto the back. So you'll have your soles of the feet flat onto the ground, knees bent. If it feels better, you can take your feet wide, and your knees can drop in towards one another. Relax the shoulders away from the ears, and then just kind of allow the pelvis to feel nicely sort of anchored into the ground. So you get a sense of kind of the three corners, so the either edge and then down towards the tailbone, just resting and kind of leaving an imprint into the earth. Take a few breaths into the lower belly space, so just below your belly button and above your pubic bone. So you're just filling up this kind of band of the lower belly with your breath. And you might notice that you can feel that breath stretch into the lower back when you make it quite deep and full. You might even just close the eyes. Allow yourself to just settle in and tune into that lower back space. Take a few more rounds of breath just into the lower belly. Relax the shoulders. And then start to move your feet in towards one another to be about hip distance apart. Hug your right knee in, so you're just stretching into the top of the hip and into your glute a little bit. So just taking the knee in as close towards your chest as you can, just giving a little hug. You might then just gently start to extend your left leg away. Keep the toes flexing towards you. Just get a nice stretch out here. Couple breaths again, just directing breath into that lower belly space. Relaxing shoulders. Gently release the right leg. Start with the right knee bent. Draw your left knee in towards you. Give a little hug in. Couple breaths into the lower belly. And then maybe stretching out through that right leg, flexing the toes, the right leg towards you. So you just feel that sense of evenness through the pelvis still. Level pelvis. And then gently start to stretch that leg away. Just take a moment of pause, resting the whole back onto the ground. Maybe give your hips a little wiggle. And then hug both knees in towards you. Just gently wrap one arm around each leg. One hand, around each leg. And then we're going to take the legs out and draw circles with the knees onto the ceiling. So just little rotations. And you can just really feel this movement initiate from the hip socket. So bringing your awareness there as you move through the sort of outer edges of the hip socket, feeling the head of the thigh bone move in that space. Just noticing any points of stickiness or tension, and then making the rotations go in the opposite direction. And then hug your knees in towards you once again, so you're stretching both legs evenly through the backs of the glutes into the tops of the hips. A couple breaths here, relax shoulders, relax feet. And then place your feet back down into the ground. This time take your feet out as wide as your mat, and then you're going to drop one knee in towards the opposite ankle, and then do the same on the other side. So we're just getting a stretch out through the side and to the inner thigh. Really try to make this movement come from the inner thigh muscle rather than drawing your knee down too strongly, because you don't want to pull any of the beautiful ligaments that help to hold the kneecap in place. So, back and forth, so you might feel that into the outer hip, inner thigh. Nice, and then pause in the center. Okay, so this next one, if you are feeling quite tender today in the lower back, maybe just roll to your side and then sit up. Or if it feels okay, this can be quite nice. You'll just take a couple of rounds rocking back and forth, so you're massaging out the whole length of the back. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Until you come to seated. And then you'll just roll yourself to the side and make your way onto your hands and knees, just a simple tabletop position. So hands are under the shoulders, knees are under hips. And then we're going to just really direct our focus into that lower back space. So it's just a pelvic tilt. So you'll just tip the pelvis up and tip it under. Tip the pelvis up and tip it under. So I was told once to imagine you're holding just a little glass of milk onto the lower back, and you're tipping it off and then lifting up, and then the tailbone lifts a little bit higher. So you're tipping that off and lifting that up, back up. So just concentrating on that movement through the lower back space. Notice how it feels. Notice those points of tenderness. What we're essentially trying to do is just work into all the surrounding structures of the lower back, just looking for points of tension and just create a little bit of space, right? Okay, press your left hip forward and take your gaze towards that left hip. So you're just kind of stretching through the right side body as you firm the left side body. Take a breath back in, come to center, press your right hip forward, look towards the right, stretching through the left side body. Inhale, come back through to center. And then we're just going to find a little bit of movement that feels good. So you might make little rotations into your shoulders or just wiggle the hips around, not being too concerned about how it looks, just finding a little bit of movement that feels good. And this is a nice, safe way to move the spine in all kinds of different ways. You might make rotations that can feel quite nice into the outer edges of your hips. Make sure you go the opposite way as well. And then take your big toes to touch, knees out as wide as your mat, and then sink your hips all the way back towards your heels. Okay, if you have any knee issues, this might not be the right one for you. You can come onto the back and lie in that same position we started off with. Allow your forehead to soften towards the ground. And then again, we're breathing space into the lower belly. So feel the lower belly space expand towards your thighs or into the space between. Relax the head, the shoulders. Just bringing that awareness into that lower back space. Inhale, make your way back up through to a tabletop. We're going to come into a downward facing dog. So this can be a really nice way to stretch out through the whole back line of the body. We're just going to keep a knee bend for our downward facing dog today though. So you'll tuck the toes under, and then there's a sense that you're pressing the ground away through the hands. As you start to lift the hips up and back, keep that bend in the knees. Take the chest closer to the thigh. And then maybe you start to stretch and lift the hips a little bit higher, but try to maintain the bend through the knees. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then maybe stretch the heels a little bit closer to the ground, but again, just maintaining bend in the knees so we don't overstretch into the hamstrings. Take a breath into your belly. Exhale, gently part the lips and just breathe out. Take another deep breath into the lower belly. Feel the belly expand towards the thighs. Exhale, gently soften, release it out. And then maybe start to lift one heel and then the other. So you're stretching gently through the hamstrings. And then take your gaze to look forward. Keep that bend in the knees as you start to place one foot at a time. Really sense into each imprint of the foot as you place it down. So you're feeling the textures, you're feeling which part of the foot lands first.
So you come all the way up through to your hands. Allow your knees to bend as much as you need to, so you can take your chest right onto the thighs, and then allow your forehead to soften in the direction of your shins. So you might be just hanging out like this. No problem, it's not the shape we're looking for. It's that deep bend in the knees so we can release the lower back without overstretching the hamstring as well. Allow the body to be just heavy here. Head is heavy. You might feel it as like a tractioning action to release out through the backs of the whole back line of the body. Breathing in and out. Bring your awareness into this lower back space as you press the hips forward. Feel your core engage. And then you're going to slowly start to roll up through to standing. So you're really rolling out. You're pressing hips forward. Spine is kind of still rounding as you slowly start to lift. And the spine kind of comes up in this sequential way, so that all the vertebrae just nicely stack and unfurl into your upright position. Release the block. And then we're going to cross the right foot behind the left. See if you can bring your baby toes to touch. You might need to bend the knees a little bit to do so. Tuck your chin in and slowly just allow the body to roll forward. Feel quite heavy through the head. Make sure there's no over compression into the lower back, no sense of pain or discomfort. Maybe the fingertips are on the ground, or maybe use your trusty block in front of you. And then you can kind of lean the weight forward. Allow yourself to come forward. Relax the head, the shoulders. You should feel that all the way through the back of the leg into the glutes. Slowly start to lift all the way back through and up. And uncross the legs. Just feel into both sides of the body. Relax the shoulders. We'll do the same on the other side. So the left foot will cross behind the right. See if you can bring the baby toes to touch. And then bending, slowly rolling forward. Breathing into the belly, shifting weight forward into the toes. And then slowly start to unravel all the way up through to standing. And uncross the legs. Take the arms out to the side, gathering in to lift. And exhale, fold, bending the knees, take the chest onto the thighs, allow the body to fold forward. Step your right foot back and then lower your right knee all the way to the ground, untucking the toes. Press the hips forward and then just take your hands onto the hips. Okay, from here, feel as though you're trying to draw your left heel forward as you press your right knee forward. Relax the shoulders. Think about the back of the neck being long, the crown of the head lifting tall. So we're pulling the left knee and pressing forward with the right. So we can create this engagement through the outer edges of our hips, a sense of stability through the pelvis. And there's a length through the lower back here. Thinking about that space, especially into the front of your right hip flexor as you press your right knee forward. Breathing into the belly. And then gently release both hands down to the ground. You're going to start to inch your back knee back a little bit, or maybe you're exactly where you need to be. And then squeeze your right glute so you feel the glute muscles engage. And then sink a little deeper into the front. Squeeze the right glute. And maybe sink a little bit deeper. So releasing into that hip flexor. Squeeze and release. Third time. Good. Come all the way up to your lunge once again. Reaching tall through the arms. Keep the body lengthening. The spine is growing tall. As you lower your left hand beside the left side, reach up through your right hand and tip slightly over to the left. So we feel this as a side bend through the left side of the body, sorry, right side of the body. Press down through the palm to relax the shoulder away from the ear. And then inhale, lift both hands all the way up. Lower both hands beside your front foot and step forward. Bend the knees, don't overdo the stretch, relax the head. Take a little breath in, maybe lengthening through the spine, maybe the palms come onto the fronts of your shins. Reach through the crown and lower down. Planting hands down, step the left foot back, lowering the left knee, untucking the toe. Find length through the spine, crown of the head lifting, kneeling lunge. Pull your right heel towards you this time as you press the left knee forward. So you feel that engagement, stability through the hips. Breathing in and out here, relaxing shoulders. Okay, lower the hands all the way to the ground. And then from here, see if you can engage that left glute by just gently squeezing to feel the release to the front of your left hip flexor. So we'll do 2 more. Squeeze left glute and soften. Squeeze left glute and soften. One last time, squeezing and then softening. Okay, from there, take the gaze forward, press the hips forward, rise up. This right hand drops to the right side of the body, press down through the palm, lift through your left arm as you do a little side bend over to the left hand side. Sorry, right hand side. Breathing in and out. Inhale, come back up through to center. Release the hands down. Step that right foot back. Take the knees wide. Sink back. Take a couple of breaths here into the lower back. Bringing your fullness awareness into the lower back. Gently walk your hands in. We're going to make our way onto the back once again. Just going to move my little device here. And then we're going to come into a supine twist. So, from lying onto your back, just going to be a really easy twist. So, knees bent, extend the arms out wide, and just allow your hips to move slightly over to the right as you allow your knees to drop to the left. The hips can be completely stacked. Might need to scoot your hips back even more. You can take your gaze towards your right hand. Just notice where you feel it. You may even place your left hand on top of the right knee. Sink a little deeper. Bring your gaze back through to center, knees back through to center, hips move to the left as you allow your knees to drop to the right of your props. Breathing into the belly, just to help release the muscles of the abdomen as well, just so you can twist a little bit deeper. Again, notice if maybe placing a little bit of weight from that right hand helps. And then gently come back through to center. Roll yourself to the side. Come up to seated. And just close the eyes for a moment. Tune into that lower back space. Relaxing shoulders. Relax the head, the face. Just noticing how that lower back space feels. Sometimes just given these points of tension and pain, a little bit of our attention, love and kindness can just help to alleviate and create a little space in the body. Movement is always good.
hope you found that helpful. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. It really helps me, and that helps me to help you as well. So thanks so much. Have a beautiful day.
Namaste.